Well, good evening once again. Day 139 of the Biden administration, the opening of a week in which both the president and vice president are making their global debut with their first respective foreign trips in office. Yet Joe Biden is now facing a tough new challenge here at home. A fellow Democrat has dealt another blow to a key part of the Biden legislative agenda. And it's that man again. Over the weekend, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who remains critical to his party's power in a 50-50 Senate, wrote this in an op-ed for the Charleston Gazette-Mail, quote, "I believe that partisan voting legislation will destroy the already weakening binds of our democracy. And for that reason, I will vote against the For the People Act. Furthermore, I will not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster." And with that, the various signals that Manchin's been sending out all along about both of those issues now have a much more definitive tone, let's say. One influential House member warns Manchin's opposition to the voting rights legislation places the future of our democracy at risk.
You are talking about destroying the democratic principles upon which this country is based. It may disproportionately hurt me and my children and grandchildren today, but let me tell you, it will hurt this entire country going forward.
Remember, Republicans in over a dozen states are now actively trying to restrict voting rights, and some Senate Democrats have been lobbying Manchin in person with that in mind.
We got to make sure that the people have their voice in our own democracy. And unfortunately, we're living in a moment in which there is one party that has decided that rather than adjust their message, they want to shift and distort the playing field.
NBC News, among others, reporting that NAACP President Derek Johnson is expected to meet with Senator Manchin tomorrow morning to talk about federal voting rights legislation. Just tonight, it was announced that the meeting has been expanded to include a number of civil rights groups, including the Urban League. Manchin's position creates some urgency for President Biden's other big agenda item. White House says he'll meet again with the other West Virginian, Republican Senator Shelley Moore Capito, about the infrastructure bill before leaving Washington for Europe on Wednesday for an 8-day trip. The two sides are apparently still far apart on a price tag.
It's clear the president has come down by about $1 trillion. What we've seen on the other side is they've only come up by a small percentage of that. Moving forward, he's looking forward to having a discussion with Senator Capito, and he certainly is eager to see what that discussion can entail.
This is, in many ways, a heck of a time to be taking to the air, going on the road for a president with so much of his initiative still up in the air, especially with Congress. What's your sense on whether or not, and there usually is, a move they've got, something in their back pocket they've got that they're not necessarily advertising?
Well, in some ways, what you're going to see on this trip abroad is parallel to what you're seeing back home, at least in what President Biden is promising. You'll recall he sort of pitched himself as a master of personal diplomacy and deal making. That was his promise, that if he just got elected, Republicans would start to work with him. Obviously, that is not happening right now, quite starkly back home. And abroad, it was the same pitch. It was that he was someone who, longtime senator who had been abroad. Someone put it to me on sort of the European conference circuit, the security conference circuit, head of foreign relations, is vice president, and now as president, that he had these long-standing personal relationships with global leaders. And because it was him, Joe Biden, he will be able to go there and do things that another president might not be able to do. We've seen how that has played out, some mixed results, and they're in an admittedly rough patch right now back home. And we're about to see how that promise stands up on the world stage.
And Anna, indeed, let's go to your beat, but I'm going to read for you something in Ashley's paper about Senator Manchin to kick it off. Inside the Senate on Monday, Manchin's Democratic colleagues reacted with surprise and disappointment, largely keeping any personal frustrations in check, given the mutual acknowledgement that Manchin's vote is essential to success on infrastructure, confirming Biden's nominees, and several other priorities. So, Anna, here's the question. When you cull individual Democrats from the herd and talk to them, maybe not for quotation, how do they view this guy that many view as a Dino, a Democrat in name only? It has surprised and concerned a lot of people that on any given day, he's easily the most important or number 2 most important Democrat in Washington.
I don't think anybody should be surprised by where Joe Manchin is right now. He's been saying the same things when it comes to the filibuster, when it comes to voting rights for several weeks now. I think that he actually gives a lot of Democrats cover. He doesn't mind being the tip of the spear, as you said, Dino of his caucus, because there are a lot of other Democrats that are very much in line with where Joe Manchin is on the filibuster. They don't want to have to be out there as vocally as he is. And Manchin, and maybe to a little bit of a lesser extent, Kyrsten Sinema, they are the 2 people that are willing to say, hey, we're not going to make changes here. But there are at least a handful of other Democratic senators who are in line with where Joe Manchin is on the filibuster.